Welcome back to Music Talk Monday with the shitty lighting and all of it.
Yes. Great shitty lighting. Gotta love it.
This week's topic, rehearsing for a show versus actually playing at the show.
And what's the difference?
Yeah. Because, yes, you're playing the same songs, but there is a big difference in, not just because it's a rehearsal and you're ironing out any problems. Like, if it's the last couple of rehearsals, the problem should be ironed out. So, just the mindset of rehearsing a full set and then actually playing.
There's a big difference between rehearsing your set and playing your set in front of 30, 40, 50, God knows how many people.
1,000?
I mean, I've never played in front of 1,000 people, but that would be awesome.
I don't know that we've ever played. We might have played somewhere where there was 1,000 people. I don't know that they were all paying attention.
We haven't. I have. Okay, we've years and years and years ago. It was an outdoor thing in the evening. Yeah. It's a convention of nudists.
Oh,
No, they weren't nude then, but it was a convention of nudists.
I don't know if I'd be able to play that. I would be greatly distracted.
Like Quiet Riot played a nudist column.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like,
That's
I would.
why you look over their heads.
Yeah.
I think most of the gig, I'd have my eyes closed.
Make sure you're strumming your guitar.
Oh, man.
Oh, I didn't say that on here. I was... Anyway. So
what's the big difference between rehearsing, practicing your songs, and actually playing them live?
People.
Yeah, that's
well, I mean,
I don't
yeah.
really want to get into.
Yeah. What?
So I guess we'll start with you, Terry, with the question of how do you rehearse?
How do I rehearse?
When we're actually rehearsing.
When you're actually rehearsing for a gig, how do you rehearse for a gig?
If we're doing it for a gig, I usually try to get my sound set almost exactly the way I want it. Yeah, so I know where I'm going to be when I get there. Now the only problem with that is acoustics.
Mm-hmm.
Acoustics are totally different usually in your practice space than from
Versus
where you play. So you can set your amp up and it's perfect, and then get to your gig and it's like, oh my God, this sounds like garbage, and have to redo it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's good to get to your gig early.
Yeah. That particular issue is actually why some guitarists have multiple EQ pedals on their board.
Yeah.
There was one, and I don't even remember the band, but it was that pedal show in an earlier episode where he was talking about the one board that he did, and the guy had two EQ pedals. He had one for like actually shaping his sound, and then he had another one at the end of the chain in order to tune for the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people who don't use as much equipment are probably going to be going, well, isn't that what the mixing board's for? Or whoever's running sound, whether it is a set and forget like what we do or somebody running it, your board isn't always going to be able to tune to the room.
Yeah, there's like where I practice my songs is in my bedroom, aka my studio. I have hardwood floors and really no padding on my walls. So the sound that I get when I'm there, I may be like, okay, this sounds great. But when I go and play a bar setting and I'm sitting there and you have all this background noise, it's more open. The sound is completely different than what I get in my room.
Yeah.
So where I may have everything set up on my board to sound good for my room, when I get there and I strum, it could be quiet as hell. Because, I'm in a room versus in a much more open setting. It's also the same thing with my pedal. If I'm playing bass, when I play bass with you guys, I would have everything set up the way that I liked it when we rehearsed. But there were several times I had to change things a
Yep.
little bit for where we
Yeah.
were playing.
Yeah. For guitarists, general rule of thumb is, especially if you're actually using an amp
Mm-hmm.
in a band setting, if you're setting up your amp and it's not in that band rehearsal context, set up your amp to where it sounds really good, then knock off 1 or 2 notches of bass and mids, or knock off like 1 or 2 notches of bass and turn up your treble
Yep.
about the same amount. In isolation, it's going to sound ice picky, but when you put that all in with the band, the bass, the drums, everything, it's going to sound like what you want it to do.
See, I've recently, like, I can play through an amp, you know, that'll sound great and everything, but since the purchase of my my PA system, I've been playing my guitar through the PA because it's a 4-channel PA.
Mhm.
You know, I'm playing by myself, so really the only thing that's hooked up are the speakers, you know, my guitar and a microphone. So 4 channels is fine for me.
Yeah.
And you know, I plug my guitar in, and you get, you know, mono on one side, so you're getting guitar out of one speaker, vocals out of another, pretty much, is the way it ends up setting up. So in my, like I said, in my room setting, you know, I had the speakers set up on to the side of me, just like I would be playing, and you know, I hear the guitar out of one side, I hear the vocals out of the other side, and years of going to concerts and shows and shooting guns, my ears do ring. You know, my hearing isn't the greatest. So what I set up there definitely is going to sound completely different than when I set up somewhere else.
And sort of on the acoustic note, what we do, and well, what we've done for 10 years since we really started paying attention, or since I really started paying attention, we EQ the guitars sort of counter to each other. Mine is the lead, so it's got a little bit more of a mid push and a little bit of highs going on, and I don't have a whole lot of bass. You being rhythm, I kind of scoop it out. I keep the high end to keep the definition, but you have more bass on your guitar than I do. And for the vocals, they're kind of similar. And the other thing I do is when we're in a setup where I can do it, I will pan our guitars and our vocals towards whichever side we're actually on. But I'll do it to not a major extent. Like maybe I'll pan the vocals, you know, a little bit, like 1 notch each way, and then I'll pan the guitars like 2 or 2.5 notches each way. That's one of those 3D mixing.
Yeah.
You know, putting it where it is on the stage. Just it kind of helps. And at least I've noticed it sounds more natural doing that. But the main thing is EQing them against each other because, excuse me, if you have multiple things competing for the same frequencies, something's going to win out. And you're going to lose the rest of it. And early on, especially with our guitars, that was a big issue.
It was, yes.
And that was a huge issue when I was using the B9 pedal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great pedal from Electro Harmonix. It was the first of their 9 series. I don't still have mine. Do you still have it, or did we sell it?
No, we sold it.
Okay. But it's a great pedal, not knocking it in any way, but because of how we had it EQ'd, when I kicked that on, the frequencies that it was hitting were the exact same as his guitar, and because it is what it is, it was overpowering his guitar and even part of the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
So all you were hearing was the organ pedal. And that's something you can kind of adjust with volume, but frequencies don't just sit with volume. They also, like I said, they compete for each other, or for the same spot. So you need to EQ and work around that, and that's not always something that whoever's at the mixing desk
Yeah.
can do, because even the nicer mixers can't always, unless it's like a $2,000 plus, you know, big digital bells, whistles, bullshit, and dispenses beer mixer. you know.
Well, not just that too. A lot of the local guys that do like mixing and whatnot, they're professionals, but they're not like they're working with smaller boards.
Yeah,
They're
right.
they do what they can with what they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Versus, if you go play like the Ram's Head or something like that, yeah, they're gonna have a $10,000 mixer. They're gonna be able to get all of that down.
Yeah. Even so, though, if you can do most of your pre-mixing beforehand,
Oh yeah,
if you can set up your rig to basically be what you need and make it as easy on the sound person as possible, speaking as sound person, a lot of times, especially from when we ran open mic, the easier you can make it on the sound guy, the better it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not like the sound guy's intentionally going to be a dick, but the more time he's got to spend on you and the more focused he's got to be on a problem, the less focused he's going to be on the whole mix.
yeah.
Unless you are the whole mix, and then
Yeah.
Well,
it's kind of
If you are the whole mix, then why do you have a sound guy? Unless your name is Bob Dylan.
I mean, you could be the whole mix and still show up, and they're like, "Hey, we have somebody running sound."
Well, yeah, but in that case, and we usually try to find something like that out beforehand.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before. Take your own mixer along and just let them do volume and
Yeah.
12 o'clock everything.
Yeah. Or just take your own mixer and set it up and tell them, okay, start this at 12 and adjust for whatever needs adjusted for the room.
Okay.
And we have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Not frequently, but we've done it.
Yeah.
See, I love my little PA with the 4-channel because that is a very good introductory, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is, you're given the basics, bass, treble, mid,
Right.
Yeah.
Volume, and that's it. So you're given the basics, but that allows me to play around and learn how to work a mixer properly and everything. So that way, if I want to, I can expand into a larger mixer, or something like that. But, for what I do and what I have, it's just me by myself. It's perfect.
Yeah, you've got the little type mixer, right?
Yeah, the little type one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for what I paid for it, it's about the price of
No,
little
I
types
know, yeah.
nowadays.
With the beep beep
Yeah.
in the room. So to bring this back around to the performance versus the rehearsal. The rehearsal is, you want to keep all of what we've been talking about the last 10 minutes in mind. And your rehearsal is where your front end should basically be the sound that you want. And try to make it as easy as you can for downstream. And even if you're doing your own sound, when you get to the gig, the less time you got to spend dicking around with the sound, the better.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, you're there an hour and a half early and you're set up and ready 45 minutes later. Now you got 45 minutes to BS with the fans and grab a beer, do whatever.
All right, so we focused on how to get your sound down in rehearsal, and how you get ready to go out and play live.
Yeah.
Let's kind of bring it back around to when you're rehearsing the songs. Now, me personally, when I'm rehearsing for a gig, I run through my entire set list one time, every song that I'm going to be playing. Even if I know the song and it's something simple that I've played 100 times, I still run through it, and I do that one time, and then I go back and I figure out what songs I had issues with. And when I run through the songs the first time, if I screw up, I keep going.
Yeah.
I don't stop or anything. I make it like I'm playing my show or playing my gig, and I'll run through it, that one time, and then I'll go back and say, okay, well, these 4 or 5 songs I need to work on a little bit more. So I'll look at the set list and be like, and go down and be like, okay, I'm good on this one, this one, this one, this one. This one needs work. And then I'll take those songs and just run through those and practice them a little bit more if I have to. And then when I feel I have them down, I will run through the set list, back through the set list again to see how it sounds. And this is all in how it sounds to me. So it could sound great to me, even if I'm making a few mistakes or something like that. but how the audience perceives it is completely different.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of, and the point I'm about to make is kind of counter to what you just said, but it's the same idea. I notice my mistakes, and he notices my mistakes a lot more than the audience.
Oh yeah, well,
Right.
being a musician, you're gonna notice your mistakes or other musicians' mistakes than somebody who's just there to drink a beer and have a
Right.
steak or something like that.
Yeah. Well, not even as a musician, just as we've played
Mhm.
this stuff that long, and it's how do you recover from that? Can you recover from that? And that's honestly, I think that's part of what makes you a higher level performer is if you fuck something up, can you recover
Oh,
from
yeah.
it fairly quickly, or just keep moving? And that's there was one time we did, and this was God, I don't know how many years ago. We did Hotel California at an open mic, and
You snort like that, and all I want to do is hear the story now.
okay, I've been playing that song since I was 14. Okay, full solo, everything. I've been playing that song since I was 14, so for almost 20 years now. Not saying I don't occasionally make mistakes, but I know the damn song.
He's been playing it well for almost 20 years. How's that?
Like 6 bars into the solo, I lost my place. Completely.
Lost
Completely
everything.
lost where I was. I could not get it back.
And because it was what it was, I was on a 12 string. I don't play that lead.
Yeah.
And there was nothing I could do other than keep the rhythm
And
going.
because of where we were, it's not like, that's a 8-chord progression, so you had to get to the best
end of
we
the
could do was
Uh-huh.
get to the end of that
Yeah,
progression
right.
before we would go into the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending I had, but the rest of the solo, I just like at that point I'd already been playing it for 5-6 years. Just whoo.
Yep.
See, I've had to a recovery that I did was I was just playing for a bunch of friends sitting around a campfire. It wasn't an actual like gig or anything, but I forget what song I was playing, but I actually like missed an entire chord in the song. And I'm like, oh, well, so I started playing that last chord and I played it longer and everybody kind of noticed. So I just started strumming really, really fast and just went into a completely another song.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I done screwed that one up. Like everybody can tell, I'm just going to start another one.
Yeah.
It wasn't a paid gig or anything like that. It's not like everybody was, paying to see me play. If that were the case, if missing that chord and, going on to, it was only a 4-chord progression. I remember that. And I think I skipped the 3rd chord and went on to the 4th. So I just played the 4th longer. In a situation, if I was playing an actual gig, I'd play the 4th longer and then just go right back into the progression.
Yeah.
That's not really going to hurt anybody. In fact, most people might not even notice that. But, in something like that where, I screwed up and everybody kind of noticed, it's like, all right, new song.
Yeah.
Go right into something that was a little faster and...
with 2 of us up there, that's not normally an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because we both, just screwed up as the song's going, and it's kind of like you just look over at each other, and it's okay.
The only time it's an issue is if I'm in the middle of a solo.
Yeah.
And he skips over something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Yes.
Yes.
Not saying it's frequent, but it's happened.
Yes, it has.
And then it's like either I gotta cut my solo short, and I might have been building to something to bring it back in, or just where the fuck did that chord come from?
But I think the one thing that we all have to realize, and that it's not central to this podcast, but it is central to what you're doing out there, or even in practice. You can't you are going to make mistakes.
Oh,
I don't care how perfect you are. You are going to make mistakes. And if you let that mistake overtake you, then that's exactly what it's going to do.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's already been touched on here I think by both of them, most people don't know you made a mistake. Or if they do, they just think maybe your finger slipped or something. You know, it's not like you missed a chord or you didn't. Oh my God, you know.
If you recover quickly and you don't bring attention to it, most people won't notice.
Right. So it's not, you know, a mistake is a learning process. It really is. It teaches you how not to react.
Yep.
You know, and how not to do. Now, with the example that Eric was giving, if I remember, that song got stopped. I think it did. Because you just absolutely couldn't find your way back. I could be wrong.
I'm talking about like the handful of times that.
Oh no, I was the one that you gave, the Hotel California.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I think we actually finished that one
We
out.
may have plowed through it,
We
but
kept going, and it was just. I think I got on my yeah. I just. Whoo! It's gone, and we got into
right,
the ending.
yeah.
But
it was an open mic, and that's the other thing you need to know. If you're in an open mic and you make a mistake, that's why you're at an open mic.
Yep.
You know, you're putting out your product, trying to perfect it. Okay, but it's not perfect yet. So if you make a mistake, it's there for you to.
yeah. Your product being your performance.
Yes.
Whether it's covers or originals or whatever, your product
Yes.
being the performance in front of people.
Now, one of the big things that we actually haven't touched on that actually is a problem with some like musicians is stage fright. You can rehearse 1,000 times and every song sounds great, but as soon as you get on that stage and you see people looking at you ready to hear your music, you blank out. I've done that where it wasn't so much like the people, it was when I played the open mic competition and I played the song Saturday Night. I was playing through it. I was nervous because it was a competition, and I was playing the song Saturday Night by the Misfits, and I completely screwed it up. I just completely forgot verses, forgot lines of the song, forgot chord progression, everything. But I kept playing it, and when I figured I was done, I was like, all right, I'm done. And I literally said to the crowd, I done screwed that up, but I bet you nobody in this bar except for maybe 2 people know that song.
And there were 2 that knew it.
Yeah.
Yes.
and guess who was one of
Yeah, exactly.
who actually knew that you screwed it up?
Yeah. I'm the other one.
But I mean, you know, it was an open mic competition. I was a little nervous, but it was still all out of fun.
And that was also the encore song.
Yeah, it was the encore song. It wasn't necessarily anything spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I screwed up, big deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a such thing as stage fright, and you know, the one thing I can say is I really don't get stage fright. I get a little nervous, but as soon as I play that first chord or I start playing that first song, it all goes away. And I know, like, there's thousands of things people say, like, picture the audience naked, look over their heads, you know, don't look at people directly, stare at the floor. You know, one of the nice things about being a solo musician is I have my iPad sitting there. So I can look up at the people, but if I'm getting nervous or I don't want to see their reaction, I can just keep my eyes on my iPad and not have to worry about it.
And I'm going to say this simply because I read something today by somebody local on Facebook. It was basically a complaint decrying using. Yes, it was. And I'm not going to mention who it was. But it was.
We have several friends who don't like the idea.
Yeah, but
of an iPad on stage.
you wouldn't guess this one, but I'll let you know that. But it was very much an iPad, anti-iPad rant that you should memorize the words before you get on stage. Now, at one time, I would say that was true simply because there were no iPads, and the only people that were using prompters were on
rich
television
or,
and had the money to use them, and we're
are in situations where it's like if you fuck up, everybody's gonna
right.
know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't fuck up.
Yeah. But as far as using an iPad now, I don't, but these two do, and a lot of my friends do, and play a whole lot better than I do. It's more, it gives them more accessibility because they're not only playing the songs that they've practiced and everything. If they need something on the fly, it's right there.
Yep.
And you can get it, and it's
We've done that quite a few
Yes.
times. We've gotten a request for a song that's like a 3-chord song that we don't play.
yep.
But it's only a 3-4 chord song, so you
And
look
it's
it up.
one that we're
Yep.
familiar enough with that we can do.
Yes.
You look it up real
What's
quick.
Up?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
We just did.
Yeah. At Sherman's Creek the other week or the other month. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing I love about having the iPad is, to me, it's a safety blanket.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I like a lot of the songs that I'm playing. They're 4 or 5 chords
Yep.
max. You know, nothing real special or anything, but I have the words there. I have the chord
Yep.
progression there. I have everything that, you know, God forbid, you know, like Eric said, he got lost playing the solo.
Right.
You know, God.
Not that that's something that I would have recovered from our iPad set.
Yeah,
No, but
right.
God forbid, you know, like I'm playing the song and all of a sudden I forget the lyrics.
Mhm.
Boom, I got the lyrics right in front of me.
How many times have we extended lead back into
Uh-huh.
a chorus, or how many times have we extended the intro of the song by 2 or 3 times so you could remember the verse that you wrote 40 years ago?
That's not funny, folks. That's
It's a little funny, but it's true.
and I'm not the only one that does that.
Yeah, no, there's
Believe me,
a
not- yeah.
lot of, like, I've seen huge bands forget their shit
Yep.
on stage.
Oh yeah, there's video compilations of it, and of course it's funnier when they don't get upset and they go, "Oh, I fucked that up." Like, yeah, Green Day.
Yeah. Well, you see, what I love is if you're just a vocalist, okay?
Metallica's done it.
If you're just the vocalist of a band, you have the greatest out on forgetting things that you could ever think of, because you forget the lyrics. Here, crowd, sing the song for me.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest out ever. And as soon as you remember the lyrics, boom, you bring the mic back.
Yeah.
Unless it's a brand new song,
Yeah.
and then you're
But I mean, I went to see Rob Zombie at Ozfest, and I'll never forget it. He literally forgot the songs to 2 of his most popular songs, and he was greatly intoxicated, but he literally just put the mic down and let the crowd sing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been to concerts where the lead vocalist, his throat starts to hurt or something like that. Boom, let the crowd sing it.
Yeah.
You know, that when you are the lead vocalist of a band, you have that out. You have that easy way to fix things so you don't screw something up.
But that's also not where if you didn't have an iPad sitting in front of you anyhow,
That's
and
also a bigger band out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is.
No, I'm not saying like that's.
most people, playing local shows, unless it's a song that you got 40 or 50 people there, and like a couple times when we've done, and it hasn't been the set for a while, but a couple times when we've done Friends in Low Places, and we've had the entire room going.
Mm-hmm.
Those times, yeah. And not even because I'm forgetting it, I'll kick it to the audience to sing the chorus.
Well, look, I do the same thing when I play What I Got.
Yeah.
When I'm playing What I Got, I stop strumming and I just tap my guitar and, I sing the chorus, and then, I'm passing it out to the crowd. Come on, everybody, sing along, and I'll start clapping, and everybody starts clapping and singing the chorus with me, and then I go back into the song. It's not necessarily because I forgot the lyrics. The chorus is 5 words, so, but it's a way to kind of get the crowd involved in your music as well.
Yeah, it is. But like I said, with the iPad, just that sort of thing. It's an extension. Okay, it's an extension of technology that we've been able to use. Well, the technology that we're using now wasn't available
I would argue
years
it
ago.
depends on how you use it.
I agree.
And
I don't use it simply because it doesn't work for me.
And speaking of how we use it, that is next week's theme.
Okay.
Is band helper. How
Yeah.
it works
Right.
and how we
Okay.
use it.
Yes.
So just real quick to cover this, we use an app called Band Helper. That's both of us, and Ryder's, even though he doesn't use the iPad on stage, we still use it to put our sets
Sure, we do.
together.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing for me. And my setup, if I wasn't running our timer right now, I'll show it next week. I'll get a screenshot or something. I have the current time, the expected end time, based on the set, on my screen. I have the lyrics and the set list, and the artist and year that the song came out at the bottom for any sort of trivia if we want to go, like, how old the song was or something like that if we want to mention that. And the main thing I have it there for is the set list.
Yep.
So we don't have to print out 5 dozen pieces of paper,
Yes.
put them on the floor, worry about kicking them off,
Don't
don't have
get
to
me-
worry about some drunk coming up and,
spilling his
doesn't-
beer on it or getting it
doesn't
blown off the
happen nearly
stage.
as much
Yes.
anymore, but
Right.
it used to.
Yep.
Now it's there, and yes, we have the lyrics on there. We're not normally sitting there reading the lyrics off of it, unless it's like we had to look something up because somebody requested something. That's different. But on our normal set, we're not sitting there reading the lyrics. Those lyrics are there as, oh shit, look at it, get the line, okay, now I'm back into it. And as soon as I have it, I'm back. The song that I think I've only ever played twice without having to look at the words and done it correctly, for whatever reason, 3 a.m.
Yep.
from
Yes.
Matchbox 20,
Yep.
the second part of the second and third verse, I end up switching. So I have it for
All the time.
and there's one other song, there's like one line that, Sylvia's mother was
Yeah.
used to be the other one. I've gotten that one down since. But for whatever reason, the last line of like the first verse, I always fucked up.
See, I've gotten used to, like a lot of the songs that I play, I know the lyrics by heart. Some of them I don't. I don't know them by heart just because I keep adding more and more songs that I can play, and just to add the repertoire to make it bigger and bigger. But like, if one thing I have going is, I'm looking at the lyrics, I've gotten used to looking down quick and looking right back up.
Yeah.
And my lyrics are scrolling, so it's going with the timing of the song. So because my lyrics are scrolling, like I can look down and see where I'm at, or I can control the scroll with one of the pedals that I'm going to be getting.
Yeah.
And it's literally just a look down quick. It's not like I'm staring at my iPad like this and not paying attention to the crowd.
And there's the biggest thing. That was the biggest complaint that he had. The one that I have seen out there, and it irritates me, is when somebody is totally involved with the iPad rather than the crowd. That they're scrolling through the iPad all the time, and it's just it just takes away from the performance. It's no longer a performance. It's you in your private practice space doing it in front of people, and you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
It's a paid practice basically, and that's
And when you actually have an audience who's somewhat invested,
yes.
that's not where you want to be.
No, it's not.
Now, if I have my full setup, I don't do the scrolling because that would throw me off. But I have markers set within the lyrics, and when I change the sound, like when we go into the chorus and I hit the button to change my sound for the guitar, it will go to that marker. So that, okay, now if we need lyrics, it's there. And it'll keep going down through. But that's not really the point.
No, but that does play on rehearsal versus versus playing live. When you're rehearsing, okay, cool, have the iPad right in your face.
Right.
Making sure you're getting everything correct, playing everything, correctly. Like
the last couple of times you want to try to not be.
I was going to say, but don't rely on it.
No, I look at my iPad as another instrument. That I can use just like a pedal board.
Right.
I may have a pedal board in front of me. Will I use it constantly? I might only use one pedal, but it's still part of my set, still part of my system. It's something that I have there to use. And that, like I said, I look at it as another instrument for me to help with my performance. Because I would rather have that iPad there and have that security blanket than to completely forget lyrics in a song, screw up and be like, well, I got to stop this song and go on to another one to a live crowd.
And I have seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it too.
Yep.
But it's...
I think we've only done that once.
Yes, and
We
that,
stop songs occasionally, but I think we only just straight up stopped it and going to another song.
Yeah.
once or twice.
I mean, I've seen bands playing covers and they're like, oh, we just learned this one the other day. And they'll get on stage and they'll start playing, and all of a sudden, well, we forget how the rest of that goes, so we're going to stop this song, we're going to go on to the next one. It's like, really?
Yeah.
All right, you just lost my attention. I'm going to go to the bar,
I mean, we've done open mic and done, I literally just walked outside and taught Dad this chord progression. We played Cumbersome
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple months ago at Devil's Eye, and literally he learned the chord progression 20 minutes before we went on, because it's 3 chords, the whole song.
But I learned it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, it's also 3 chords,
Hey, I'm getting older.
I did not. I was not
Three-
going to say
yeah.
that's hard. That's not where I was going with that. I mean, I was going with, okay, it's 3 chords. It's not like you have to sit down and learn the entire damn solo.
Right.
No,
it's not. But it is, and it's nice that we can do that.
Yeah.
That we can just throw the song together fairly quickly.
Yeah, and having the iPad there, as far as how it affects the performance, we also, and I didn't mention, we do normally have the chords if I've put them in on the song. We have the chords there as well. Again, we're not looking at that. That's there, one, so that if we put a song in there, or mainly if I put a song in there from thus far, it's so you can go in there and you have everything. So you can learn the song if we can't get together and practice it. And then, we can only get together and practice once or twice.
Yep.
You can go learn the song, and then we work out the details during
Yeah.
practice. And also, again, if it's an oh shit, or if somebody else is singing it and we need to change the key,
Yeah.
that way we still have the chords. It's there. Yeah, it's a safety blanket, but it's really one of those, how much do you rely on it? And in all honesty, looking, because, the next verse, I don't have the first word, you look down,
Yep.
you have it, and now you're good, and now you're paying attention to the audience. Like you said, I would much rather have that, look down for 5 seconds, if that, and then be able to stay engaged with the audience, than have to or then be staring at it, or to not have it and completely lose the song.
a couple quick questions here. With riders, if you had to make an estimate right now, how many songs do you guys know?
No, totally.
No, like totally. Like, I mean, I know this. I have the set list on.
I know what's on there.
I have the repertoire. I have the
need to give you an estimate.
Yeah, like I have the repertoire and everything. You're looking at what, 100 songs?
Plus,
Over 100 songs.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, it's great that you guys know all of those songs by heart, but it's almost guaranteed when you have 100 plus songs in your mind, it's almost guaranteed that at some point in time you're going to mix something up.
Yeah.
If you didn't have something like the iPad in front of you to help you with the set list and know where you're at. Another question I actually have for you guys, because this is something I do. I don't know if you guys do this, but I kind of try and practice my banter with the crowd when I'm rehearsing.
I don't know that I practice it. Yeah, I guess we probably should, but
Like the one thing I did it once and it went over so well that I'm gonna continue to do it is I play Nickelback's Rockstar. Now the fun thing to do today is hate Nickelback.
Well, people were even
But yeah, I mean people are coming around and everything, but
San Quentin,
so
that song is awesome.
so like I found out that one of the things that I can do is be like, so how many people actually in here actually hate Nickelback? Oh, come on, let me see those hands. I know there's people in here, All right, well, I'm glad you hate Nickelback, but I'm through with standing in line with. And as soon as I do that, practicing that banter, I could give myself a minute and a half for that banter.
Yeah.
And knowing that, okay, you're supposed to play a 3-hour set. If I'm adding stuff like that in and kind of practicing what I want to say for the introductions to the songs and whatnot, I can add that time in and know, okay, I really only need 2.5 hours worth of music because a half hour I'm going to spend with introductions and banter.
Yeah. I mean, there have been a couple times, I wouldn't say we practice it. There are some songs that we pretty much always intro.
Yeah.
Anymore. Or when we were playing them, we didn't intro. For the little bit of time that we were playing Carry,
Yeah.
you had like a minute intro as to why that song hit you so hard. What's the line I normally do?
Well, you guys always had the when you played so long, there's always the exit. The outro.
I always introduce it. Yeah,
you always introduce it, and that's the outro, and that's the last song you play.
Yeah,
so there's almost a minute or so of doing that.
And it does, and that in itself is worth it, because there are a lot of times, there are times when we intro a song simply because people wouldn't know it otherwise. The one that Brandon's referring to is one that we close out almost every gig with, and it is called So Long, which is appropriate when you're closing out a gig, but it's also one that I wrote. And like I said, unless it's a crowd that has followed us or, seen us a lot before, they haven't heard the song. Now, last night, I did notice at a very small gig that we had a couple people that were singing the song.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know one of them is somebody who's seen us a bunch of times.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it was, and I was impressed because, not with myself. It's beyond that. The fact that they're singing a song that they probably rightfully shouldn't know.
Yeah.
Right. Because your name is not Chubbadiah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
It is great. That's a great feeling to be out there, playing a song that you wrote.
Yes.
And seeing somebody who's seen you more than once sing along to that song.
Sure it is. Yeah.
That.
Hopefully that will be a little bit more, because I've already started recording the scratch track for that, so we should be releasing that first quarter of 2023.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my EP out before the end of the year. If it doesn't happen, it'll be in the beginning of next year.
I was just going to ask you which year.
Yeah.
No, because I have that dual EP idea. I still want to do that next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to bring stuff around, rehearsal is one thing. Everybody has their own kind of way that they rehearse. Mine is going through my set list a couple of times, working on the songs that I need, practicing banter, and getting the sound correct. And riders have their own way of doing it,
which is pretty much the same except for the practicing the banter.
Right.
Your rehearsal, I don't even want to say should be, but from everybody that I've talked to or I've watched videos I've seen, it generally leans into your rehearsals, especially those last couple before the show, if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. Should be, and even when we were doing the full band thing, were okay, those last couple are run through the set list. Unless we fuck something up royally, keep going.
Yep.
Right. Now, the one thing that hasn't been said here, and I think I can say it, and I for most bands, or most of the bands that I've talked to, and even solo artists, that you can over practice.
Yes.
Something.
You can burn yourself out on songs.
Right. I mean, you can you can do something absolutely perfect at your last practice, and there's what normally happens. Your last practice, it was just picture perfect, pitch perfect, if you would. Just right, yeah. And then you get on stage, and it just falls apart. Yep. You're just, everybody's crapping their pants and just
What we actually started doing with the full band was
Proud to be an American.
Yep. Yeah.
when we did that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but granted, we only practiced that like twice.
yeah, but I mean, that was literally the
Yeah,
one
we-
song we were supposed to have boom
Yes.
down.
And we, at practice, we had it well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had it great. We got there, and then for some odd reason, it just kind of fell apart.
Yep.
But what we started doing, or at least what I've kind of tried to lead into us doing, is, you know, if we're practicing more than twice the week of the gig, if we do like 3 rehearsals, we'll do like 2 full, where we run through the
Yep.
set list, and then the last one, which is normally the day before the show.
Yep.
The last one is where we don't run through the full set list.
It's those troublesome songs
The troublesome, 1 or 2 that we know and are fun to play, just
to warm up.
then
Yeah.
the trouble spots are what you practice the day before, because otherwise you will burn yourself
Yep.
out. I would say don't practice a maximum, and this is if your gig is on a Friday or Saturday, a maximum of 3 rehearsals the week of the gig.
I have in my repertoire, I have 72 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
That's good.
yeah, I mean, I have it set up so that most places with a gig, they want you to be able to play 2.5 to 3 hours. If you're going to play by yourself and you're not opening up for
Yeah.
anybody. If you're opening up for somebody as a solo act, usually they want you to play for 45 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have it to where I can go through, and out of those 75 songs, I can create a 2.5 hour set.
Mm-hmm.
I can create a 45-minute set or an hour set
Yep.
or even a 3-hour set if I have to. And I can put a 15-minute break in there and whatnot, but I have such a diverse repertoire of songs that I don't necessarily burn myself out playing them because a lot of the songs are going to be the same chords and whatnot, and they're going to kind of sound the same.
Are
even
you kidding me? Half of our set is ADG.
yeah, but I mean, when it comes down to
Or
it,
variations there.
when
Yes.
it comes down to it,
If you go with different keys, most of our set
Yeah.
is the same progression.
Okay.
I can, I like Eric said, I will practice one day and, run through literally all 75 of my songs. And then I'll pick what I want my set list to be. Okay, I liked how I played, these songs. I like this song. I think this song will go over with the crowd, especially if I know where I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like if I know that I'm playing at the Sherman's Creek Inn, I know that crowd.
Yeah.
I know what to expect with that crowd most of the time. So I know what songs are going to go over and what songs aren't. So I can go through and figure out my set list and be good to go. And then I'll practice that, on my second day. And then my third day is I'll play the set list over again and then practice the ones that, I really need to. And, that's how I do it.
Yeah. We will generally, because of where we're booked,
Mm-hmm.
we'll make up the set list
Yes.
ahead of time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times where we place some stuff is to try and keep similar stuff together. Like we'll put 2 or 3 songs that are capo 2
Yeah.
in a
I
row.
do the same thing, so I don't have to worry about
Right.
And-
pulling that capo off, putting it
Yeah,
back on,
right.
and stuff like
and
that.
with me doing drop D, it's like we now have 4 or 5 songs where I do drop D or can do drop D. So we can do 2 different spots,
Mhm.
but I don't want to detune the guitar for one song.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's a request. I don't want to detune the guitar for one song. So we're going to do at least 2 in drop D. That's actually because it was a semi-last minute, so we didn't get to make a set list. So last night we did, we did Midnight Rider and then did, God, what is that? Oh, Copperhead Road.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm drop D for both.
Yeah.
See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to buy another guitar to do that with,
Mm-hmm.
because I've noticed a lot of the style that I'm playing and a lot of the songs that I'm playing, some of them are in standard, some of them are a half step down, and there's no way I'm retuning a guitar a half step down in the middle of the set.
Tune it half step down and use a capo.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
That's
Capo
what-
1, yeah.
We've done that. We did that
that's
for.
what we used to do.
Yeah.
We used to be capo down. In fact, the big song for it was Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Thank you very much for that advice. I
Yeah.
did not even think
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. Every Rose Has Its Thorn was a half step down, and I couldn't sing it in standard. Or no, that one we capoed up because I
Yeah.
couldn't sing
Could
it half
sing
step
it
Yeah.
half step down.
The
Yeah.
rest of the stuff we were a half step down. We found a very nice balance with tuning to 432
Yeah.
now, where both of our voices can hit most stuff without having to drastically change the key. But that isn't necessarily part of the performance
Yeah.
discussion. So, although that does lead into the minutia of what we do to make our performance better.
That
And
yes. Go ahead.
yeah, the point is the rehearsal is getting all of that down and figuring out what's going to make your performance best, so that when you go and do the performance, you can focus on the crowd. You can focus on that energy and have as little outside bullshit worrying as possible.
And we are continually working on that. I mean, it's not a okay, now we've got the system down, and this is the way we're going to do it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, really, because it keeps us a little fresher. Anyhow, crowds change.
Oh yeah.
Attitudes change. Audiences are fickle. If nothing else, and they don't mean to be, but they hear something new and they like it. Now they want to hear something new. They don't want to hear, they want to hear some of the stuff that you had before.
Yeah.
But now they want to hear some of the newer stuff too. So you've got to be, you've got to at least try to be fresh and figure out what your crowd wants.
I was actually,
funky, yes.
To kind of piggyback on that, I was reading an article on Facebook about playing out and stuff like that. And the one guy says he plays 4 gigs a month. He plays once a weekend.
Yep.
And he was saying what he does with his set list is he'll play the same set list for all 4 of those shows.
Okay.
And then in doing that, everybody gets to hear that set list.
Right.
And then next month, when he's playing 4 gigs, he might keep 1 or 2 of the songs that he played in that set list, but completely change everything else, so it's keeping everything
that makes
fresh.
Sense, yes.
Because he's playing a lot of the same places,
right. Mm-hmm.
but he's also playing new places as well, so he's keeping a few of the songs from the older set list. Yeah. And to me, I was like, well, that sounds like a pretty good idea, depending on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if you are playing 4 times a month, you play the same set list 4 times, and then you're constantly playing 4 gigs a month, you're able to do that. If you're only playing once or twice a month, it's a little different.
Well, when you get to the 5th or 6th month, if you're doing that, you can put all your set lists together and say, okay, I'm gonna,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's, I know it's where I'd be anyhow.
Yeah, I was like, that's a great idea if you're playing 4 gigs a month,
Yeah. So I fixed the chroma key. I didn't realize that was still on. Your hat was showing up as white. So.
Oh well.
So for anybody who noticed that, that's what I just did.
White to green.
Well, it was. See, the camouflage worked.
So.
Well, I guess that's about all we have on rehearsal versus playing out.
Right. Now, obviously, we didn't rehearse this before we did it, so.
No.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
So. Thank you for watching. Thank you for paying attention. If you're on the Discord already, thank you. If you're not,
join the Discord.
Get there.
And we'll see you next time.
Join the Discord.